Hey guys, welcome back. Today what I got is my lathe back. Look at that. There's my Harrison M300. And what I'm actually doing with this guy is giving it a little paint job here. So as we can see, I'm repainting it. I don't know if you remember what it looked like, but it used to be green. And these are kind of pseudo correct colors for this machine. I've still got to clean it up and everything yet, but I got this thing back from A&D Tool and Machinery Building in Roberts, Wisconsin. Rick and Adam over there did a good job. And I got this thing back a few days ago. And we decided, why not paint it while it's all set up and ready to rock and roll and it's pretty clean. So here I am painting this thing. And I was just going to go a little bit over some of the things that I use to paint these machines when I paint them. So let me just show you kind of what I'm doing. I didn't take this thing completely apart, as you can see, because it was already together, and to take it apart, I just don't have the time right now, and I really don't have the time to paint it, but I figured being that it was rebuilt, I'll paint it, and I still have to go through and scrub a few things, like go through and scrub the saddle and the screws and stuff to make it look all nice and shiny clean, and clean some of these plates up a little bit. But all in all, it's gonna, look like a brand new machine when it's done. I still have the back splash guard and the front cabinet cover here that I haven't gotten to yet, but I need to get this machine up and running, so in the next few days I gotta have this thing usable. So I'm gonna show you guys kind of what I do. I've got a few different paint schemes on here, but I'll show you what colors I use and the type of paint I use and how I put it on, because I've done this in the past with several other machines. Actually, my South Bend Heavy 10 that I restored, it's been 6-7 years ago, I used the same process on it, and that paint held up extremely well. It would, of course, if you drop a sharp tool or something on like that, it's going to chip, but any paint will do that. So yeah, let me show you a little bit about what I use here. All right. I use a few different types of paints to do these machines when I do them. Here are a couple that are probably a little more available to most people. This is Rust-Oleum Farm and Implement, and then this is just a Rust-Oleum enamel, and this is just a protective oil-based enamel. Gloss Regal Red we're using here. This is a black. These would probably be more available to people. If you live close to a fleet farm, this stuff works really well. This is Old 55 Tractor and Implement paint. It's an enamel based, and that works really well too. This is what I've used for the most part. This I used in the middle of the bed there to get my orangey reddish color that I wanted. It's more red than anything, but also with this one I wanted a little bit darker color. This was I think this was Gloss International Blue, and that's a little brighter than I wanted. So I actually took a certain amount of that, added it into here, and the black enamel darkened up the blue paint to get it more of a royally blue that we got on the machine. And the trick with all this stuff is, here is a catalyst, and I apologize for my phone zooming in and out there, but this is a clear hardener catalyst, and this goes inside the paint at a certain amount, and it does two things. It hardens the paint quite a bit. It gives it a lot tougher finish, and it also will increase your cure time, so you can paint this and within a day it'll be fully cured. You can probably recoat this in several hours. I'm probably gonna this is about, I don't know, what is it, 1 o'clock today. I'm gonna probably recoat this thing at 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. It'll be hard enough to do that. So this hardener catalyst stuff works extremely well. And then when I put it on, easy enough, little mixing bucket here. You can mix out your amounts, mix it up, and then this has a sweat time, so you got to let it sweat for about 15 minutes before you apply it. So you mix it, you leave it sit for 15 minutes, and you put it on. A couple things to use. These little chip brushes work very well. with this type of paint, because even though you get brush strokes, it usually flows out and it flattens out pretty good, so you can use these, and when you're done, just toss them. You just got to be careful that all the little bristles, you don't have loose bristles, because sometimes you get loose bristles. You can use little painter brushes, little tiny like art brushes to get fine corners. And then these guys also work very well. This is a felt or a lint roller. These work okay for primers, the lint ones, because they'll suck up a lot of stuff. They also work for the top enamel finish, but they don't give quite as smooth a finish as you may want, like a foam type roller. That's what this paint is, or these rollers are kind of made for this type of paint. So these little foam rollers work good. And then my last trick to doing all this is when you go through and do a flat spot like this, you can get a pretty, it's going to have a little bit of an orange peel to it, but it's the next best thing to spray in. So the thing that I do is after I roll it on with that foam roller, you'll see a bunch of little bubbles over it. So I take a torch, if I can get it to light, a little propane torch, and just blast it over that cabinet quick, and that'll erase all your bubbles, all your air bubbles in the paint, and that gives you a pretty nice finish. So this, like I said, you'll get a tiny bit of orange peel, but as you can see, it's pretty, I can see my reflection in there. It's pretty smooth so far. And I still got to put a second coat on there. So it's getting there. So I hope you guys got something out of that. This is really I don't enjoy painting these things, but I know that when they're finished, they end up looking really nice, and this lathe will pretty much look brand new when it's all done. So there's just a few tips and pointers and some of the materials and products I use to paint these machines. The trick to painting them and getting a really nice paint job, of course, is tearing the whole thing apart and painting each piece individually and being very meticulous about it. But if you have to paint a machine like this, it's taking your time around the corners, the edges, and even like some spots here where I have the tape, I'm sure I'm going to have bleed through there, so I'm going to have to go back and clean it, which might be a little bit of work, but making sure you get even coats, don't get drips, runs, all that stuff, and then trying to be as neat and clean around the corners and the edges as possible, and you'll get a machine that, you know, basically tends to look like it came out of the factory, sometimes better than the factory. My South Bend I had, that thing looked better than anything that ever came out of South Bend, but that was just the fit and finish of it and everything. Not the fit and finish. The paint job on it looked better than South Bend's original paint jobs. So there you go. Hope you got something. If you guys like that, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking down below. See you later.